Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Everyone wants to be stronger, not just physically, but in every part of life. But between confusing workout advice, complicated equipment, and trying to figure out nutrition, where does anyone even start? Well, to get stronger mentally and physically, go to Anytime Fitness. You'll get a personalized training, nutrition, and recovery plan, all customized to your body, your strength level, and your goals. You'll get expert coaching to optimize your results, anytime, anywhere, in the gym, and on the Anytime Fitness app. And you'll get anytime access to 5,500 gyms worldwide, all with the right equipment to level up your strength gains and your life. So get started at AnytimeFitness.com. That's AnytimeFitness.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott. Max isn't here today. Did we send him to the airport?
He's coming later.
Will you send him to the airport this morning?
No, there's no reason to go to the airport today.
That was yesterday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We sent him to an airport. We'd have to send him to another airport. All right. So he'll be along in just a little bit.
He's on Twitter patrol.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Kiffin likes to tweet a little bit, Charlie.
We got somebody on Twitter Watch. We got somebody at the airport. We are monitoring everything we're supposed to be monitoring. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio.
Go to Oxford in a little bit.
Brett Norsworthy is going to join us from Oxford here in about 15 minutes. He's been covering Ole Miss about as long as we've been covering LSU, right?
Longer.
Yeah.
yeah. He remembers the Archie Manning days.
All right, so we're going to get his thoughts on what's going on up in Oxford. Brian Edwards is in Florida,
alum.
And he was there this weekend in Oxford, right?
He was in Oxford all weekend for the Florida Ole Miss game. He's down in 30A doing his thing, but a Florida alum, former student of Layla Kiffin, Layla Reeves, maybe, but. So he brought her name. How long ago was that we were doing the show over at Bin 77? He came on with us and said, maybe that's our in. And not only was she a student, not only did she graduate from Florida, her dad was an All-American quarterback there. He was an assistant coach there, and she went to high school there. And supposedly the story goes that their first date was in the swamp, so at Florida Field. So there's obvious connections there.
Yeah, which makes it all the more interesting that they felt like she needed to go make a site visit on Sunday.
What is the level of their relationship? Well, heck, the last coach, this is no knee-jerk. The last coach, you didn't know what their the marital relationship was. So,
yeah, this one, all right, so we've seen a lot of these coaching searches. It's been a long time since we saw one televised, basically, which was not quite what we had yesterday, but close to it. When you get a confirmation that a plane, I get a kick out of the flight tracking software and all that stuff. But
he crashed yesterday.
This one was actually legit, and when you can get a confirmation and you do this as publicly as Kiffin's camp, if we're going to call it that, has done. Gainesville on Sunday, Baton Rouge on Monday, Oxford on Tuesday. That's unusual in this time where everybody's got a camera on you. Everybody's got a lot of light on every move that you make. I mean, he's putting inspirational passages on Twitter today because I just think he loves this. Okay, Lane Kiffin, he is having a ball.
He can't stop.
Yeah, most coaches would want to do this in as much secrecy as possible. He seems to want to do it the other way.
Oh, they've tolerated. Well, I think they tried to maintain the least amount of privacy they could. I think he would be wise to use Nick Saban as a sounding board.
And don't you think he has?
What's that?
Don't you think he has?
I know. So,
Yeah.
As
has Virgil.
And I think that Saban has. I think Saban thinks highly of the job.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
And I know he respects what Lane has gotten out of the Ole Miss resources. Wouldn't you say?
They've won more games than LSU or Florida since he's been there.
And it's funny how, but Lane. And so what did Saban? Well, 25 years ago, my wife went down there and toured it. Okay, I'll do the same. Well,
yeah, no.
Somewhat the same. So
nobody knew who Terry Saban was in 1999 in Baton Rouge. Everybody knows who Layla Kiffin is in 2025.
And things are a little bit different. Yeah. So it's a different ball game. It's not the same, but she did tour, 6-hour tour. I'm sure it went well. I'm sure the one in Gainesville went well. So how can you not take the resources of a university and a coaching search of this magnitude and not put on a good face and a good tour? So we've heard. You don't go to send the family, the ex-wife, the reconciled wife, whatever, the mother of my children, whatever. You don't send them on tours if you're not ready to get out, or if you strongly consider it. For him to, we've seen more. It would not be out of the realm. It's not out of my percentages. It's a low percentages for him to return to Oxford. But last Wednesday, we both said no. I think our stance is strengthened. Just on what we know.
It would be very difficult for him to walk this back.
It's beyond consideration.
Not impossible, but very difficult to walk it back at this point.
And it seem that both LSU and Florida, for a little bit different reasons, have kind of a great case. And I think are really, really close. And so
we think that the money is pretty much the same for his money.
I think LSU is offering more, though. Budget.
Let's just talk about his money. His money is about
the contract's one thing, okay? Yeah. But we're talking about what player budget, staff budget.
That seems like
Tommy Tuberville was going to leave Auburn for LSU if LSU would have listened, because LSU was going to give him more staff budget.
Yeah.
Go give him more of a budget. So the resource, he's not leaving because he's proven that he can win at Ole Miss, but he's tired of fighting that uphill battle. And so 6 players from Ole Miss defense got drafted last year. 6. That's a lot. That's a lot. So he would have taken a job 5 years ago. We talked about it. The gap. These are two of the plums, man. These are over times between top 5 and top 10 with with LSU and Florida both for different reasons. But it's tightened between Ole Miss and Florida and LSU, but there's still the Florida and LSU are still better. That's our opinion.
Some of the other obstacles that we talked about prior, and you go back a month when we had Brian on, they're going to be in the playoffs. Well, is he going to coach them in the playoffs? No. And if Ole Miss puts this ultimatum, as was reported yesterday by The Athletic, you have until next Friday to tell us whether you're the coach or not. If I were Lane Kiffin, and I had any intentions of returning, I would say, or what? If I don't sign a contract with anybody by next Friday, you're going to fire me the day before the Egg Bowl? Really? But I don't think he wants to play that particular brand of hardball. But you're Ole Miss. Well, if you don't sign with us, if you don't sign this contract extension by next Friday, you're fired.
Well, Ole Miss is obviously the freaking out the most. They are,
and you understand
for
why.
Obvious reasons.
You understand. LSU did the same thing when Saban played footsies with the NFL every year. Everybody here was in a tizzy. I remember when they called that press conference in the middle of the basketball game and watched everybody across the street to show him signing his contract extension. I was there. So, yes, I understand why they're in a frenzy. They're about to lose the most successful coach they've had in recent memory. LSU was in the same boat in 2004.
The NFL is a little different. No, but you knew Lane. You brought Lane in as a job hopper. But
LSU brought Saban in as a job hopper.
They have everything he's pretty much asked. They've delivered.
Mm-hmm.
They delivered everything they can. Is it still enough? Well, it's probably not. Even what they've delivered, I'm sure LSU and Florida can trump it. As far as their support and their budget. I mean,
they can't make the stadium. LSU
is not offering. They're not saying we'll give you equal player budget. No, there's no way. You're not packing a moving for that. I mean, if that's the case, we'll stay. But I mean, it was, and we'll talk to Brad about it in a second. But it was the most. Do they have a chance? Sure, they do. I just don't. I mean, do the team, do the players have a say in this? Because I talked to Rohan last night. He came and visited. And it's like, Rohan, if the team voted, do we want Lane? Let's have a team vote. Do we want Lane Kiffin coaching us in a playoff or not? What would they say? He said they'd vote for him to coach us because he gives them a better chance at winning. Guess they don't really have a say-so in this whole thing.
No, I don't think that they do. And I think the hardest thing I would think for Kiffin to do is to march into that team room and say, I'm leaving right before this all happens. Or to march into his staff room and tell, these are now grown men with families. It's like, Coach, we understand you can't tell the media and you can't tell the administration. We understand this is a business deal. We got families too. All right. We'd like to know if you're staying or not as soon as you can tell us. So I got to figure out if I got to get a job somewhere else next year. And I think that would be a fair question of somebody on his staff to ask him at this point. And I think that's a tough deal for him to have to go in there and tell everybody, everything we work for, I get it. We're right here at the door, but I got to go. That's a tough meeting, in my opinion.
Well, a lot of them think they're going to go with him.
Sure.
Wherever he goes.
Sure. And if you are going, am I going with you?
And they're not leaving for less money.
Yeah.
They're not leaving for equal money.
Yeah, so that question becomes, Coach, are you leaving? And then the second question is, are you taking me with you? Or do I have to go? Because he's not taking them all. It's not going to be a complete.
They're not the first staff to jump.
But at this time, in this situation, they are.
Charlie, I told you weeks ago, it might not be this year, might not be next. Somebody's going to jump that's headed to the playoff.
Yeah, but this is the first time something like this has happened.
It's coming.
Right. A month ago, I'm like, there's no way. Now I'm like, well, it looks like it's going to happen, but I still think that's a tough conversation to go look at your staff and say.
That's why he's on. Well, he's on Twitter,
but he's wired a little bit different. Most other coaches would not have done this as publicly.
How would this constant social media? I mean, you better win big, or that thing will aggravate people around here, huh?
It's going to if he comes here. It's certainly going to.
So Paul Stone in the podcast asked me today, give me a percentage. I'll ask you, and then I'll tell you what mine is. LSU, Florida, and Ole Miss.
I would say right now, if I had to put percentages on it, I would say LSU 50. I'd say Florida 40, and Ole Miss 10.
Okay, I said close. I'm a little tighter between LSU and Florida. I said LSU 45, Florida 44, Ole Miss 11.
You and your odd numbers. Okay. Well, yeah. But we're on the same page.
Slightest of edge.
LSU with a slight edge, but not.
How much in a reconcile mode is he in? But they tried to recruit her yesterday.
Well, yeah. If they're
it's in her blood. I mean, Florida's in her blood. That helps them. If she went to Arizona State, this thing might be over.
Yeah. Well, if he didn't care what she thought, if they weren't, like you said, reconciled, he wouldn't have sent her. I mean, she's got no reason to come here unless her opinion matters.
That's why I'm a little tighter than you are.
But, okay.
I think LSU's going to have a better offer, not so much in salary, but in budget.
Right. No, we're in
LSU has consistently.
We have the same information.
Consistently more budget than Florida. That doesn't mean Florida can't up it.
Yeah. Well, no, we have the same information on that. So, as the lane turns,
We'll go to Oxford in just a second with longtime sports talk show host Brett Norsworthy, also part of the Ole Miss pre and post game shows on their broadcast for the game day broadcast. Don't forget, over here at November 1st through the 26th, or through the 26th, buy $100 in gift cards, get $20 gift certificate free. If you buy $200 or more in gift cards, get $20 gift certificate for both, but also a free appetizer card. That's for every $100 purchase. So buy $200, get two $20 gift certificates and a free appetizer card. Don't forget Pictures with Santa. It's an annual holiday event, very popular over here at Mike Anderson's, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That is Sunday, December 7th. So the first Sunday in December, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at Mike Anderson Seafood, our Lee Drive location just off of Nicholson. So letters to Santa, crafts, face painting, door prizes, Christmas cookies, petting zoo, Pictures with Santa holiday event, and a special guest, the Disney princesses Elsa and Anna as well. So big event over here for the kids. Pictures with Santa holiday event. That is the first Sunday, December 7th, in 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right. I'm sorry, Charlie. Back at Mike Anderson's. Live at Lunch.
Go right ahead, babe.
All right, let's bring in Brett Norsworthy, veteran sports talk show host in the Memphis, Oxford area, pregame, postgame for Ole Miss football. Brett, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Boy, you're at one of my favorite places in BR. I love Mike Anderson.
Man, what's the feel, man? We have an idea, but just provide us some insight as much as you can on what's going on right now.
Well, Ole Miss got a great season going 10-1. Got open date this week. Next week, biggest rival game of the year in the battle for the Golden Egg, and got a coach that's won double-digit wins the last 3 years, and a lot of people are coming for him. But in the end, I think he stays at Ole Miss and keeps a good thing going to make it even better.
Yes, indeed. So, how much? Did you know that this sort of ultimatum would come about sort of this deadline for Lane to make a decision right before the Egg Bowl?
No, I don't know if it's really an ultimatum other than just kind of a directive, but ultimatum or directive, whatever you'd like to call it. I don't think it came down quite as brusque as it reads. But look, everybody's got business to attend to, and Ole Miss has a chance to play for the national championship. So you have to know where your coaching situation stands.
There's no doubt. So give me the tone then, maybe, because we can't tell the tone in text or report. But tell me how you, not so, maybe ultimatum strong, but tell me how this came about.
I think the tone is business, and we're in big business. Lane likes to say, and he's right. He was at the forefront of this. We're into professional football, especially in the SEC. And Ole Miss wants to compete at the top of it. And to compete at the top of it, you're going to have these kind of fits and starts, and every so often somebody coming at your coach. Just about the entire league has. It was even some inquiry from LSU around when they hired Brian Kelly. There was even some inquiry from Florida when they hired Billy Napier, even at Texas when Steve Sarkisian at A&M a few years ago after Jimbo. Now, the Alabama dalliance was more Lane toward them, I think, than Alabama toward him. I think Coach Saban probably vetoed a lot of that. And we know Auburn a few years ago, he coached at Tennessee. He turned down Arkansas to take Ole Miss. He's got a quorum. He's just about been wanted at every place in the league.
Well, he's, and I've talked about it for a long time, and I'm not talking about the non-conference stuff because that could be misleading when you start talking about non-conference schedules, especially, now compared to 20, 30 years ago. It's not close. But in the SEC, and we know the landscape of the SEC is stronger than ever, he's got the best winning percentage in conference games since Johnny Vaught at the school.
Yeah, that rings really loudly, doesn't it? Because that's been a long, long time ago. Coach Vaught's last game was 73, and really last really good teams were 68, 69 or so. So what Lane has done, and just what a great guy he is, wherever he's coaching next year, and I feel like it'll be at Ole Miss. You're getting a guy in the sweet spot of his career. The next 10 years for him will span his 50s. He's 50 years old, so the next 10 will take him to 60. At any place he's coaching, he's going to win at least one national championship. And there are other places that he could win even more. LSU won it with Coach Saban, with Les Miles, with Ed Orgeron. If he's the coach there, I don't know that he would top 3, but he would definitely join the one club. At Florida, he might win more than Urban and Spurrier combined, and that's 3. Spurrier winning 1 and Urban winning 2. But at Ole Miss, we feel like he's going to win us one, and he might win it this year for Ole Miss.
Brett, these visits the last 2 days by his family were very public. He's about to go on with Pat McAfee, so he is not shying away from any attention at this point. Is there something that he wants that Ole Miss is not giving him at this point, whether that be budget, staff, facilities, or whatever it is? Is he trying to spur a reaction with this? Because he could have kept it a lot quieter had he chosen to.
Yeah, but Lane really doesn't play the quiet the quiet passive game, and we all know that. Look, he's made it work, and he's made such strides in his personal life. I know it personally. To see him in this spot in his career, he's so proud of Off the Booze. Going to be 5 years next spring, and for me, I'm 32 years, and I'm 5 years was very important, and he this year. My 32nd year was the day we beat Oklahoma, and after the game, he said, "Congratulations, 32." I said, "Thank you, Coach." And then Barry Switzer walked in, and Barry Switzer said, "Monty Kiffin would have loved winning here more than anybody on earth." So it was a really good scene, and just the kinship and the friendship that we have at Ole Miss with him, I think that's going to win over. But yes, he's out there and all that yesterday. That was very public, but. Look, there's no secrets anymore. He's not trying to keep them, and he's going to kick all the tires and weigh all the options. And in the end, I think he'll be the coach at Ole Miss next year for his 7th year, starting year 7 at Ole Miss. There were many people that didn't think we could get him. There were many people that didn't think we could keep him a year or two. There were so many that thought he was gone to Auburn and thought he'd be gone by now. And look what he's done. And last Saturday night, just how between him, the energy that his team brings, and how Game Ops does it. It's just hard to believe a lot of Saturday night at those games. I'm sitting in Oxford at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium because I can remember when the stadium didn't have lights and seated about 33,000.
Record crowd, 68,000 Saturday night, had a lot of juice and a little theater as well, because not only was it his ex-wife's alma mater, but she was a daughter of an All-American quarterback there, an assistant coach there, and she went to high school in the city of Gainesville. So she's got that in her blood. But he had a hell of a game too. I mean, what was the atmosphere like at Vaught-Hemingway Saturday night?
It was a great game, and I've said this about Knox Kiffin, son of Lane Kiffin, but his 2 grandfathers, John Reeves and Monty Kiffin. Man, that's some good bloodlines, isn't it? Because John Reeves could throw that ball with that big, high, over-the-top delivery. I remember watching him in the USFL at the end, but the atmosphere, it was just – I mean, it was pinch meat for 3.5 hours that this is happening in little old bitty Oxford, and the place that we love so much. I don't think Hemingway could have ever written this story.
Yeah, so Max is keeping us occupied as he jumps on Pat McAfee right now. So we'll get an update on a recap on what he said to say in just a little bit. So, yeah, man, I remember Reeves playing for a guy by the name of Steve Spurrier a couple of years with the Tampa Bay Bandits down in USFL. So,
yeah, Gary Anderson,
so many times.
I guess I should amend from Hemingway to Faulkner. Couldn't have written that story in Oxford.
Well, I mean, He's they're visiting Baton Rouge. The daughter's got a boyfriend here. They're visiting Gainesville. There's roots there. I mean, it's just once upon a time, didn't you say Greg Sankey frowned upon or tried to stop moves within the conference? Huh?
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering about that.
that one left a long time ago, and we can remember when it was controversial for Eddie Fogler to leave Vandy to go to South Carolina in basketball, and people didn't like that then, and now we've gotten to this. But this all simmered down. It's fun seeing Lane right now on TV. I know y'all are watching as well. And behind him, you can't see it now in the shot, but he has one of the painted footballs of Trey Amos, who started at Alabama, portaled to Ole Miss, and was such a warrior last year for him. The ultimate offensive football coach, and behind him on his desk, he has a Trey Amos football, and Trey Amos starting this year for the Washington Commanders.
Hey, Brett, he's shown that he could compete. Let me ask you a couple things. First of all, the team last year, they finally had Lane Kiffin was viewed as an offensive coach. It was like, Mike Leach light. Okay, but you can't stop anybody. Physicality to your defense and things like that. Man, they had 6 guys drafted off that defense last year. I thought they had a better roster last year. They may have a better team this year. Then that's happened sometimes, where the more talented team doesn't accomplish as much as the less talented team a year after. We've seen it. What's your thoughts on the level? Is this team better than last year's? I mean, last year's team had the lead in the fourth quarter in all 3 losses.
Yeah, Jimmy, that is so well said. I do think last year was more talented. I do. I mean, heck, had a first-round quarterback draft pick, but last year just could not run the ball at predictable run times. I mean, to get that 3rd and 2 with 4.5 minutes left leading against Kentucky to ice the game, couldn't get it. And really the only consistent runner last year was Jackson Dart. And he took a lot of hits because of it. But this year we run the ball so much better than last year. But no, last year's defense was one for our lifetime at Ole Miss. But that is a really good way, Jimmy, to break it down. I do think last year was more talented, but this year has won more. And one of the big reasons this year, this by no means a shot at Jackson Dart, but what Trinidad Chambliss has provided for us in taking care of that football. Only 3 interceptions all year, and hadn't been that backbreaker interception yet. It hadn't been that throw yet. If you're going, oh no, don't throw that, and he still does. He just does the little things so well. He's almost like Chris Paul running an offense for an NBA team. It's just so very steady.
Would he have ever seen the field if Simmons doesn't get hurt?
Probably not as a starter. No, he would not have. But he was very, very capable backup. Now Kawan Lacey's in the shot. Very capable backup. In August at the 2 scrimmages I went to, there were people going, my goodness, who is this guy? We didn't know anything about him. He didn't get to Oxford until May 27th, and Joe Judge found him, and Joe Judge has coached him, and Joe Judge is going to make somebody a great head coach in the SEC. What you learn out of those NFL buildings, never mind Joe Judge's record as head coach of the Giants, what you learn out of those NFL buildings of how to run a program and now how to handle the personalities with the money. And let's say it's the salary cap, the issues that go with it. Joe Judge is going to make somebody a great head coach. I beg Arkansas friends to hire him.
Wrap it up, Brett. I know you think he's going to stay, but say he does leave. With the Ole Miss supporters, he has rallied them and he has drummed up more support, unprecedented support, mostly for player budget. Would that support maintain if he should leave?
Well, I think Ole Miss is going to always support their team regardless, but we'll just have to see how that plays out as the weeks unfold.
Do you think he'll let this go into Egg Bowl week, or do you think he could put a stop to this at any point? Do you think he will do that before the end of this week, before they get into Egg Bowl week?
I think so. I think at some point we get some finality this week. I do.
Brett, we appreciate it, man. You're the best.
I appreciate you guys.
You're the best, man. Keep us updated. We will as well. So as the conference turns, my man. I mean, never.
You know, next year LSU comes back to Oxford in a scheduling quirk, And
Oh, no. Johnny Vaught's going to sell that game like he did in '59. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
He would sell that game. And Ole Miss goes to Florida next year.
Well, interestingly enough, last year with his more talented team, the two places it got tripped up on as a favorite and should have won both were in Gainesville and Baton Rouge. You can't. The layers, you can't make this up.
Saturday night at Tiger Stadium happened to us.
Yeah. Thank you, Brett. We appreciate it.
You got it, man. Thank y'all.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds is Legacy Title for all of you real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get with our long-standing team. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Lane Kiffin just told Pat McAfee that Ole Miss has not given him an ultimatum. So,
kind of takes it another level from what Brett kind of just told us.
We'll take a break and come back here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
From Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Andy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Jimmy, how are you?
Oh, doing great. I'm just trying to track a little. Things in the SEC are a little bit a little different from Las Vegas. I mean, it's but then even for us, this is a little bit of a soap opera with many little many layers to it. With the Lane Kiffin entertaining, sending his family to Gainesville Sunday and Baton Rouge yesterday to tour the facilities and
You got to send them to New York today just to see what the Giants have got to say, since they threw that name out there last week.
Nashville, the Titans.
Sure.
I mean, why stop there? Andy, from afar, any thoughts?
Well, it certainly seems that he won't be at Ole Miss next year. The question is where he will be, and you mentioned several of the possible locations. I know one of the hot names for the Giants seems to be, at least they're not coming out and publicly saying it, of course, but it seems to be Mike McCarthy, who, of course, had success with the Packers. And more success, I think, than he's given credit for with Dallas, because they weren't a terrible team. They just never advanced in the playoffs under him. But they had winning records under him. So, and I think he likes the prospect of working with Jackson Dart and Sam Scatteraboo and develop a nice offense there. Lane Kiffin might be a possibility there because he's been successful with offenses wherever he's gone. So he certainly has a great track record. Of course, his father was involved in the NFL for many, many years on the other side of the football. But I'm not quite sure. It certainly seems like Florida would be a nice location for him when you consider the recruiting advantages that you might have in the state of Florida compared to, say, Louisiana or Tennessee or something like, not Tennessee necessarily, other than for the NFL. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Gainesville, especially with that nice contract he has, and there's no state income tax in Florida.
Charlie, do you think he would? What kind of coach he would be in the NFL if he would go back? We know it's a complete disaster, but flaming out with Al Davis and the Raiders, that doesn't totally kill him.
No, first of all, he was a very young coach. Second thing was, it was a quarterback that he did not want in Jamarcus Russell, and we know why. I think it would be a totally different deal for him in the NFL right now. I think he would do fairly well. I can't say he'd win a championship, but I think he'd do well.
Here's the thing where I say he would not be as good, because all of his teams, you look at them, whether it's Jackson Dart, whether it's Trinidad Chambliss, whether it's Simmons, whether it's Matt Corral, whether it's the guys at at Florida Atlantic. I mean, he runs his quarterbacks at least 10 times a game, right? At 10 times a game. That ain't happening in the NFL.
And I think he would adjust, don't you? I mean,
I would.
He'd have to. They're up there telling Jackson Dart right now.
He's fourth concussion protocol.
Yeah,
for him.
The organization is urging him, begging him not to do this. So I think
Dave Ball was running design running plays,
and he's no longer the coach.
Yeah. Hey, Andy, what about there are some prices on some teams, especially in the AFC, that are you got some upstarts like New England and Denver, who
and Indianapolis.
Yeah, and Indianapolis. None of these teams have any playoff wins, but they're longer shots and they got much better records. And Kansas City's got a tough road. If you want to break it down to like Jacksonville, look at Jacksonville's schedule, where they play the Colts twice, they play Tennessee again, they play the Jets. I mean, you don't think I think they play Tennessee maybe twice the rest of the way. So, I mean, they have a much more favorable schedule. Remember that Monday night comeback, so they own the tiebreaker. I mean, Kansas City might not make the playoffs. Is there some value in finding, winning the conference for some of these upstart teams?
Well, I think most of these teams, we're more than halfway through the season, so most of these teams that were at extremely long odds back in August before the season began, they've now been priced as if they're going to make the playoffs and might have a chance to advance. And the fact that you've got so many teams without a great deal of experience in the playoffs, for example, New England and Indianapolis, not much recent experience. Of course, Denver made the playoffs last year. But if you don't have teams like a Baltimore or a Kansas City, I'm not going to say Buffalo won't make it, but they're not exactly playing the kind of football that we would expect to see them play. They had that wild game against Tampa Bay, a little bit exposed to more of their issues, especially allowing over 200 yards to the Tampa Bay running game in that contest. So I think the fact that you've got teams like New England and Indianapolis who don't have a lot of playoff experience, it'll be interesting to see how they fare against, let's say, not the Baltimores and the Kansas Cities that we're used to seeing if they don't make the playoffs. So there might be some attractive odds there. I normally look towards defense before I look towards offense, and that would point me towards Denver. At the same time, I like the job that Steichen's done in Indianapolis. They've got a decent defense and certainly a very good offense. And if you're not going up against outstanding defenses, with maybe the exception of Denver, you will have a chance to advance in the playoffs. It's a very unusual season. I don't remember the last time this happened, but here we are 11 weeks into the season, and there are 6 teams that have won 2 games or less heading into the final third of the season, basically. And at the same time, you don't really have a lot of the familiar faces at the top. Yes, you've got Philadelphia up there, you've got the Rams up there. Both of those teams have a lot of recent playoff experience. But if you're talking in the AFC, that seems to be wide open. There really is no clear-cut favorite other than if you go by the records, Denver and Indianapolis have been playing the best along with the Patriots. And, Denver and the Patriots have these long winning streaks.
Charlie, did you check that schedule?
The Colts have the Texans twice, not the Titans. Is that what you asked me? If they play the Titans?
Jacksonville's schedule.
Oh, I thought you. I'm sorry.
It's Jacksonville versus Kansas City, is what it might come down to.
Jacksonville does have the Titans twice.
Yeah, and the Jets.
And the Jets.
I mean, that's going to be tough to pass up because you can't tie them.
They also have trips to Denver and Indianapolis in late December. So
they play Colts twice.
What Kansas City might need to hope for is a multiple-team tie with someone in addition to Jacksonville. So it'd be like a 3-way tiebreaker that they might benefit from. But head-to-head, Jacksonville's got the edge.
Not Jacksonville.
No. Okay. We had a spirited conversation, and part of it was people who had Jackson Dart tickets to win the Rookie of the Year. Well, they said, they're going to come back and play him. Oh, well, they're 2-9 now, and Jameis actually played well. He played well, but in the end, he threw a pick in the end zone to kill the game tie and drive. But where's your thoughts on Dart, and do they have to win 5 games? They only have 2 right now. Do they have to win more games for him to be a candidate too? Or can they go 3-14 and still win it?
Well, if I'm the Giants, it'd be one thing if he missed some time because of a hamstring or some other injury. But if you're missing it because of concussions, I wouldn't take the chance. This team has no chance of making the playoffs. Why risk it? You're going to bring in a new coach, let them start over. The same thing with Burrow. It's a little bit different, although it looks, even if we get to Thanksgiving, it looks as though Cincinnati, they may not be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but they'll be very close to it. Why risk it with a franchise quarterback? Only something. What do you gain by having him in there?
Development. I mean, you can develop. You want to give him more starts to get ready for when actually playing for something next year. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, 4 trips to concussion protocol. I mean,
yeah, I couldn't agree with Andy more. In this case, you have to err on the side of caution. And think how attractive this position would be for the Giants to have a top pick in the NFL draft, maybe the top pick. They're number 2 right now, and not need a quarterback. I mean, you could hold a heck of an auction there.
Yeah, they've got a running back. They've got a rookie running back with great potential. They've got one of the top receivers who's out all season, Neighbors, in the league. You've got a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback with what most people consider as a very nice upside. Yeah, you can really do some strength, especially, the Giants will have some opportunities to strengthen that offensive line, which will certainly help both the running game and Jackson Dart. They're in a good position by losing. And again, I say same thing with Burrow. Why risk a franchise quarterback for wins that won't mean anything? In fact, the wins will only hurt your draft position. But unless you have a realistic shot at the playoffs, I mean, Miami, they're still mathematically alive, and maybe they have a little chance of a little run in them. They're playing with a little bit more confidence now. But a team like Cincinnati, I would not consider Tua the kind of quarterback that I'd want to protect versus a guy like Burrow.
Burrow can't play a free safety as well. They have given up the most points in the NFL this year, 334. Second most.
And we all knew
the Giants
that during the
at 300.
offseason. We knew that during the offseason when Cincinnati basically did absolutely nothing to improve the major weakness of their game that kept them out of the playoffs the last couple of years.
There's no doubt about that. Any plays, early plays in college that you're on for this week, Andy?
I haven't decided on anything yet. What I do at this time of the year, we've got 2 weeks left, I look at those teams that have 5 wins and need to win one of their next 2 games to make it into a bowl. And that may be not all the most impressive thing, but a lot of these coaches do have contracts. And, not all these coaches are making multi-million-dollar contracts. So for them to get into a bowl game, they get some nice bonuses. So I'm going to take a closer look at some of the teams in those situations. One of the teams I'm looking at right now is Kansas, as far as they've got 5 wins, and they got a winnable game and a game that probably they won't win the next week. So those are the kind of teams I'll be looking at to back if the situation is right and if the talent is there. I mean, if you're looking at a 2-3 point game, especially if the other team has no chance for winning making it to the conference championship game, which is another factor I look at. Which teams control their own destiny this week as far as making championship games?
Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. We'll talk to you on Sunday, Football Sunday Live this Sunday from Caesar Sportsbook in New Orleans for your top 2 picks. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, guys.
Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive, 8445 Segan, just off of Perkins, across from Ambrosia Bakery. My buddy Jason Payne going to give you an honest deal. You've heard the horror stories of getting upcharged for unnecessary work. Not going to be the case over at K&M Automotive, and we'd have to have some trust. We're not trained mechanics. When that engine light comes on, we just don't know. Bring it in. He'll figure out what's wrong with it. He will certainly try and find you inexpensive repair minus a more costly replace. Belts, hoses, general services, AC repair, transmission, oil change to tires, electrical, whatever it is. Go by and see my buddy Jason Payne at K&M Automotive, 8445 Segan, just off of Perkins, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. The only place I take my vehicle, K&M Automotive. Max got us a recap from the McAfee appearance by Lane Kiffin. We come back.
Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Max, what did he say?
Not a whole lot. We got the little bit of news that there's no ultimatum, and that's absolutely not true. He also referenced
his words.
I don't know where that came from. Which
The Athletic.
A little interesting, or just who the source was. I suppose that would have leaked that. He mentioned he had Kewan Lacey on. He mentioned that he did yoga this morning with the athletic director, which is apparently a trend that he does. He does a lot of yoga in the mornings. This was recorded earlier, so I didn't expect that we'd get an official announcement because you would have probably heard about it beforehand, but it was recorded from earlier this morning. And he also mentioned, he reemphasized just how he's in the good times and, you want to live in the good times, and he's committed to Ole Miss and worried about the Egg Bowl.
Could have asked him if he's in
said
such
he's
a good time.
committed to Ole Miss.
I'm paraphrasing there. He's committed right now to this team. That's his focus at this point.
If you committed, you signed a contract. Okay, you're involved. You committed.
What's the date when they launched James Franklin?
Oh gosh, 2 weeks before LSU got rid of Kelly, sometime in the middle of October.
And when did Cignetti sign his deal?
About a week or so after that. And we got to take a break. I'm going to go check and see if Verge Osbury does yoga during the break here. Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here at Mike Anderson's, get a jump on your holiday gift cards now through November 26th. Buy $100 in gift cards, get $20 gift certificates free, and if you buy $200 or more, you get the gift certificate plus the free appetizer cards.
All right, Max, give us the Calci updates before we go to 30 and hook it up with Brian Edwards, who was in Oxford this past weekend.
Yeah, so we have odds on who will be the permanent next head coach at LSU and at Florida. There's nothing on Ole Miss, but right now 30% chance if you wanted to take Lane Kiffin to come to LSU. So he's 30% chance to go to LSU. That's pretty much 50-50 right now.
Down from 54% yesterday, huh?
Earlier this morning, yeah. It's moved a lot, but it went up yesterday to about 54. Later this morning, it's gone back down again.
And this is different than the BetAG stuff for people that are just
Bet Online to me is a joke. To me, they've taken those odds down, so those are outdated at this point anyway. But they're seeing Dillingham at 3-1, Lane Kiffin at 7-1. Those markets, just don't trust those at all.
All right, let's go to Florida. Hook it up with Brian Edwards. Normally, we're getting some picks from him, and damn it, he was pretty good when we gave us some picks. Brian Edwards from VegasInsider.com, Florida alum. Was in Oxford this past weekend with Proud Larry's, Boo Rays. What you hit this past weekend in Oxford?
A place called The Yard. I had dinner Sunday night at the Oxford Grill. Did the Grove all day Saturday. My first cousin's daughter is a freshman there, so he bought a house up there. So
okay,
we kind of had a sweet house to go to as well. So I didn't hit Proud Larry's. We weren't. The only thing I hit in the square was the Oxford Grill for Sunday night. Oh, and then I did watch the. Yeah, you said Boo Rays, right? No, not Boo Rays. I did the library to watch all the NFL games Sunday.
Okay, all right. So, how was the atmosphere, man?
I thought that the vault was absolutely electric. It was popping. I was very impressed. I'd only been to Oxford once, but it was for a wedding. I had not gone to a game. So, there was not an empty seat. And, I had a lot of friends from college there, and there was a couple tailgates in the Grove, lots of Gators. I figured there were a lot of Gator fans. But when you got in there, and there were a lot of Gator fans, but there was no, clear section where it was orange and blue. It was popping, man. It was loud. It was a fantastic atmosphere.
Were the reports accurate that the We Want Lane chants from Florida fans when they were up, then when the students after? What was the, pre-game, during the game, post-game, what was the whole Lane Kiffin conversation?
Well, when the Florida didn't get the 4th and 7 after they somehow picked up that PI, I headed out. I headed out back to the tailgate. So that was, a minute 10, I think. Post-game, I watched Neil McCready's show with Siski. I forget his first name. My apologies to him. But that was a good post-game show. And then I listened to their podcast yesterday where Siski and McCready had on A.J. McCarron. And, I think the general feel from everybody, at least in the Ole Miss media, is that he's leaving. And there's also some bitterness already. I almost think that it's almost untenable if he stays because there's a lot of people not happy. I mean, obviously they did this routine in 2022 with Auburn, and it's been even more soap opera-ish, certainly the last week or two.
Tomorrow at 5:30 at the stadium. There will be Vaught Hemingway Stadium. There will be a peaceful protest. #Keep Coach Kiffin. So, Charlie, how peaceful is that going to be?
That's interesting terminology. I don't know how peaceful it's going to be.
He was just on McAfee, and that was a pre-recorded piece. That was not live, but seeming all chummy. Kiffin Lacey was in there, yucking it up, saying it absolutely no ultimatum. Not sure where that came from. Completely false. But the deal is, it's been a month and 2 days since Kurt Cignetti signed his extension. And when Penn State launched James Franklin, they went to work in Bloomington and Oxford. He has not signed, and this is before the trips on Sunday to Gainesville by his family, the trip yesterday to Baton Rouge with his family. But he has not signed that for a reason. So we know Lane's always looked, and we know he's always had an affinity for the Florida job and for the LSU job. But the confidence level in Gatorland right now, because there was a lot of people in Florida putting out, man, that deal's done, contract's on, that type of deal. Deal done is sort of a four-letter word, a couple of four-letter words in coaching searches, Brian.
Yeah, that was never there was never going to be an announcement on Sunday. Whoever was, I think his name was Thompson, was putting that out there. That was never happening. That's ridiculous. I would say that the confidence level was extremely high until, I don't know if Layla or Knox. I know the family members were there. I don't know who that included, because if Knox was there, that means he's skipping Monday practice ahead of a state playoff game on Friday.
Right.
So maybe more than me. I just saw it was Kiffin's family members. I didn't see specifics on that in Baton Rouge, but certainly with him, with family members in Baton Rouge, that had to, take the confidence down a notch or two, no doubt about it. But, I think we talked about this a few weeks back. Maybe Florida gets an edge over LSU because Layla went to school there and John Reeves, was her dad. Maybe that plays into it a little bit. I don't really know. I would imagine the only people that know are Jimmy Sexton, Lane Kiffin, and Layla. And that's what I guess it is. And, I don't know if he's all the way decided. And I don't know, the Titans and the Giants going to come calling with the Jackson Dart connection. Another thing is, you may be more plugged in on this than me. I'm hearing a lot of whispers about Sark might be in trouble, and I've also heard whispers that Lincoln Riley doesn't like it, or his family doesn't like it in California. So we may have more blue blood program job openings. So this thing is wild.
Well, just keep in mind that only two coaches advanced further than the first guy fired last year in the playoff. James Franklin, who got knocked out in the semifinal round.
Right.
So
Josh Heupel's name has surfaced in a couple of these searches too, which I find
that
odd.
He probably wants a little more. And they all want player money.
Sure.
They all want more player money. There's no doubt about that. It used to be, the nicest football facility and things like that. But do you think he knows, Brian? Do you think Lane knows?
I would think he's got a strong lean. I don't know. If the deadline is not an accurate story, which it sounded really odd. What are they going to make him say like an hour before kickoff of the Egg Bowl? If he says if he doesn't give him a commitment, okay, you're not coaching the Egg Bowl. In other words, the deadline you would think would have been a few days before the Egg Bowl. Or a few days after the Egg Bowl, not the day of the Egg Bowl. So that kind of always sounded a little off to me.
Do you think there's I would, because I think the players, they have a voice in this. If the players are making their feelings known, they have probably expressed to the administration, no, we want our coach to coach us in the Egg Bowl, and not only that, no matter what job he takes, we want him to coach us in the playoff. Which This is all messy and the timing, and of course, we gets to a bigger conversation about the NCAA football calendar, which is certainly flawed. But I think, man, you've done some damage in Oxford if you're not leaving. Why would you send a family to Florida, to send a family to Baton Rouge, to go a month and 2 days and counting after Signetti has signed his when you had the offer on your table, the same thing? I think it's just a flip of the coin whether he's trying to decide between Florida. Hey, fill us in on the level of reconciliation between himself and Layla. They live together? Are they good? I mean, they sing together? I mean, they're coexisting? I mean.
Yeah, I don't know, the exacts on that. But clearly she's back in the picture. The younger girl's long gone, so I think she's clearly back in the picture. But, another thing, Jimmy, like if, Ole Miss really doesn't have a deadline on him and they win the Egg Bowl and they go to the playoff, I mean, are LSU and Florida going to both wait and where it's a absolute certainty that one of them gets jilted and maybe perhaps both get jilted? I mean, what if Ole Miss goes to the finals, which that's very much in play, don't you think?
If with Florida still in the room, I don't think LSU can afford to wait that late. I know they don't want to. They've sort of this unofficial sort of they would like to have things done 2 weeks from yesterday. They want to try and salvage their recruiting class as much as possible. The interim coach was put in that position for one of the reasons. He's most connected with the players, present, future, and past. But also, Frank Wilson, by far, he and Corey can keep that recruiting class together. And the other thing is, if it was Lane Kiffin, that's the first person he's hiring is Frank Wilson because he worked with him at Tennessee. He hired him there. But no, I don't think they can. If Florida and LSU still have vacancies, Charlie, I'd be surprised if they waited past 13 days from now.
I agree, and I think Kiffin will do something one way or the other before the Egg Bowl, deadline or no deadline. Because don't you guys think that everybody's got their best offer out there, and he's trying to decide? Like he's not waiting for one of these schools to give him something that hasn't already been offered.
Right.
The budgets are there, the salary is there, the staffing is there, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think he's got 3 offers on his table.
Yes.
All of them.
So he's not like, hey, look, I'll sign this as soon as you give me this. That's already been put there. One other assistant coach that you didn't mention, Jimmy, potential assistant coach, Ed Ogeron.
Oh, no, he would be there. Oh, no.
And who do you think he's lobbying for?
He would be there. He would be there. He's going with Lane, too. I mean, yes, whether he's in Gainesville or Baton Rouge, he's going.
And he's still got a house here, doesn't he?
He does in my neighborhood. He sure does. Well, so anyway,
you don't have to move nothing. Look how easy this is.
Y'all want to pay me to quit? We don't have to sign. So
walk back in the other door, Coach.
What a mess, huh? What a mess.
Oh,
Brian.
it is, man. And I tell you, so I don't know if I don't know that I want my Gators to wait. Like if they go to the playoff and it's not a situation where he's firmly decided, okay, I'm going to Florida, but Ole Miss is going to let me coach the playoff. I mean, would they let him coach the playoff?
I think they are. I think they would be jilted. They don't want to, but I think the players might be able to convince them otherwise. But I think that would be a steep hill to climb. I would say it's doubtful, but I know this. I'm playing. I want because nobody's going to argue that Lane Kiffin on the sideline does not give him a better chance.
My opinion is that the players would want him and the administration would let him. That's
the chalk.
That's what I think.
That's the chalk. Yeah. But stay tuned.
Right. Oh, no. Brian, can I ask you this question? Because this is the biggest question on my mind here. If not Lane Kiffin, who's number 2 at Florida? Because we got a heck of a time trying to figure out who's number 2 here.
Yeah, and I have a heck of a time as well. I wouldn't rule Lincoln Riley out. That's kind of who I'm thinking would be number 2. But I mean, I don't say that based on knowing anything. But he checked some boxes. I mean, I thought it was lame the way he left Oklahoma, and he hasn't been as successful at USC as many thought or that I thought. But I loved him back in his ECU OC days, and I loved him at Oklahoma. And I wouldn't be disappointed with that hire.
Hey, Brian, once upon a time, I had Florida as the number 1 job in the country. because it was the only SEC team in the hotbed of Florida. This is maybe 10 years ago or so. But for some reason, we just felt like that they were not financing. They didn't have the same budget for that storied program. You know, how long did they go before they had an indoor facility? Damn it, it rains in Gainesville. I just couldn't believe that. So where is the support, the budget, player budget, facilities for the football program in relation to the heavyweights in the SEC?
Okay, that's all Jeremy Foley's fault. The former AD allowed the facilities, Florida, to just get way behind on facilities, and that's all on Jeremy Foley. But we got the new football-only facility, which I think is one of the best in the country. We got that finished right before Napier's first year, which would have been 22. So we've had it now for 3 years. But, yeah, I think maybe even Vandy had an indoor facility before we did. I mean, yeah, it was terrible.
Certainly Kentucky did, yeah.
Yeah, it was all Jeremy Foley. He lived off the Urban Meyer, Billy Donovan hires for decades and made 3 other terrible hires and let us get behind in facilities. So a lot of people think of him as like this great AD, and a lot of us Gators think the exact opposite.
All right, two. Florida shows up against Tennessee Saturday?
What? I think so. We're probably going to get Caleb Banks back, and we're probably going to get Vernell Brown back. And, look, I mean, we led a good chunk of the game at Ole Miss without 3 of our 3 best receivers and our best defensive tackle, who's actually been out since the LSU game. But he's coming back, and I think we get Vernell Brown back. And Tennessee has not tasted victory at the Swamp since Casey Clausen in 2003. Clausen won there twice, 01 and 03. The win they had at the Swamp before that was 1971. So they've won twice there since 71.
I took the 4.5 on the podcast this morning at home. You hadn't beaten them in the Swamp since 2003, and I think the fan base wants to beat them, and I think that team will feed off of that fan base at the Swamp on Saturday. One more thing, put it in percentages. Break it down for us. I know you knew it this odds thing, but you're trying to figure it out. But Ole Miss, LSU, Florida, give me a percentile where you think it's going to go for Kiffin.
Like I said, I think it's become untenable at Ole Miss, and why in the world would he put them through this twice in 22 with Auburn? Why would he put them through this twice in a 4-year stretch? I'm going to call it 55% Gators, 45% LSU.
0 chance. 0% for Ole Miss. Boy, haven't you learned that pandemic hadn't taught you no 100%, no 0%? Are you nuts?
If he's staying there, why is he doing all this mess? You know what I mean?
For argument's sake, I put 45% LSU, 44% Florida, 11 Ole Miss. Charlie, yours was?
50-40-10 LSU, Florida.
50-40-10 LSU, Florida. So, we're certainly going to have an LSU lean here. So I'm sure the tour went lovely on Sunday. I hear the tour went lovely yesterday. So I want to go on these tours. So,
right?
Brian, you're the best, man. Let's stay in touch for this whole thing and compare notes. We appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, buddy, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And check out those UT Martin Skyhawks catching that big number tonight. See you guys.
Okay, UT Martin in the points tonight in college basketball. All right, Charlie, don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet. Go Chevrolet and LaPlace. Go Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Plaquemine. So I don't just talk about the Go automobile, Go auto dealerships and their inventory and their vehicles. I drive my Go Chevrolet Tahoe. Got it from Go Chevrolet. Hey, man, see my buddies Glee Carney, Nick Richard, Certified Body Shop. Hey, mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. And how about that concierge service with the body shop or the service department as well? Came and picked up my vehicle, dropped me off a loaner. They had to do some electric work on it. A day later, brought it back to delivered the car back to my house, and went on their way. Did the paid for it mobily. You talk about, really pain-free, I mean, how many times you sit into the service department for 3-4 hours? Not the case at the Go dealerships. Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome you back here at Mike Anderson's. We're also brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. If you're having a hard time or finding affordable insurance on your coastal properties or your big boy toys, the Morris Insurance Group urges you to look again at morris-ig.com for a free quote. Your hunting camps, your fishing camps, if you're looking for flood insurance, boat insurance, trailers, RVs, motorcycles, tractors, trailers, all of them available at the Morris Insurance Group. You can also call at 225-201-0007, 201-0007. Ask for Buzzy Hydell. He'll help you out for auto insurance, homeowners, and commercial insurance as well. Morris Insurance Group, and online it's morris-ig.com. We were talking during the break about what Ole Miss might do if Lane Kiffin moved on, and everybody wants a proven winner, right? That's the thing. You don't want to
rather
you'd much rather. It has become so much harder to get a proven winner. Jimmy, how many coaches do you think out there that have won more than one conference championship at the Power 4 level? Active coaches.
More than one?
More than one. Because anybody can have that 1 year. Kirby's won. I'll give you the number.
Well, is Sarkisian in the Big 12? Did he win?
He did not win. Did not win two.
Well, what's it in Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley won 4 in the Big 12. That's 2. There's 8 of them.
Day?
Ryan Day won 2 Big 10 titles.
Did Harbaugh win 2?
Harbaugh won 3.
He won 3. Yeah,
but he's no longer active. But Harbaugh won 3.
Oh, my bad. Active.
Yeah,
active. Franklin won 1, maybe.
Franklin won 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dabo has won 9.
Oh yeah,
ACC
that
titles.
guy. Yeah.
Has won 8.
Yeah.
The other names are harder. So Kirby Smart you can't hire. Ryan Day you can't hire. Lincoln Riley maybe you can hire. I don't know. Dabo Swinney maybe wanting to move on. The other 4, I don't think would get anybody really excited. Kirk Ferentz has won. He won 2 Big Ten titles back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Brett Bielema won 3 straight at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He was coaching at Illinois.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Whittingham has won 2 Pac-12 titles recently at Utah.
Yeah.
Is 65.
Yeah.
And Mario Cristobal won 2 at Oregon when he was in the Pac-12.
Whittingham's won more than 2. Well, I'm thinking Mountain West.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won a few Mountain West.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, give me a guy that's won a bunch of, conference titles.
Well, no.
It's hard, man. They're just not that many of them.
And just keep in mind with Franklin, too, with everybody like, the coaches got all this leverage and this, that. There's only 2 teams that finished that made a deeper run out of 135, 2 more than James Franklin, and he's the first coach to get fired this year. I mean, so you have unrealistic money, unrealistic contracts, but you have unrealistic expectations. So
Absolutely.
They kind of go together. And listen, don't sign these contracts. Now, we're not hearing 10, but we are hearing more like 6 or 7 with some of these jobs.
Yeah. I don't think the average salary is going down, but I think the number of years is going down.
But what is Rule's extension? How many years? What is Signetti's extension?
His was 8 years.
Okay.
I remember that. I don't remember what Rules was.
What is Elko's?
Elko's, I thought, was a 6-year extension off the current deal, which had 2 years left.
Okay, so 8. It's an 8-year deal.
Rule signed a 2-year extension that gets him through 2032.
All right, that's 8.
Yeah.
This year and 7 more.
Yeah. So that's probably, I think, where you'll see him top out. I think ADs are saying, hey, look, 10 years. Who's going to be here in 10 years? I can't tell you a single coach that I'm 100% sure is going to be at that job in 10 years. I mean, Kirby, I guess, but other than that, I can't tell you one coach that I'm sure is going to be there. So I think the average number of years is coming down. I don't think the average salary is coming down.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And you can, because of the transfer portal, because of the ability to compete immediately, you don't need as long of a sample size to identify if you can get it done or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is, I mean, you're looking like 2 or 3 years. So you get 6 or 7, I mean, you'd still go get paid not to work for 3 or 4. I mean, it's just
most of the top programs, if they go 2 years without making the playoffs, the coach has got I think a better than 50-50 chance of leaving, of being fired. I'm talking about the top 30 or so programs in the country. You know, the top half of the SEC, is there anybody that could go 3 years without making the playoffs and keep their job? I don't know anymore.
Kelly finished his 4th year here. All right, he was in his 4th year.
Yeah.
If you didn't have some of the other shenanigans, they weren't going to fire him. They didn't really want to fire him. They didn't want to fire him. You know, at the time they did.
Well, they didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay the buyout. And
okay,
remember,
well,
also,
I mean,
but halfway through that, it changed from a 14 playoff to a 12-team playoff. That's the change. We understand if you can't make it in the top 4.
He would have gotten his 5th job if he was working. If he wasn't, you know, if it just do they not think they have a case for cause? Okay, if the cause didn't exist, if their case for cause didn't exist, I mean. I didn't think he was going to get fired even after the Aggies took over the stadium.
And I still think they have no chance at cause.
Well,
that's that's me.
But
it wasn't a disaster.
Did you think Franklin was giving up as much as he did? 80%? Oh, nobody had $9 million as what he was going to get.
Well, he
was going to settle for.
He gets $9 million from them, but he gets all of Virginia Tech money, right?
No, they gave up the offset.
Yeah, so he gets all the Virginia Tech money. He doesn't have to count any of that back.
Yes.
But I thought they had a chance to do that with Kelly.
Well, he could have sat. Well, Franklin is more likely. We think Franklin's got more in the tank. He's willing to. He went on game day and promoted himself.
Right.
Kelly did not. Okay, I mean, we know Kelly didn't want to work here as much, so why would he want to get right back into it?
LSU even did that with Les.
But still, who said 9? Who said Penn State was going to be on the hook for 9 instead of 50? Nobody. Nobody shot that low.
I don't know.
You had a month and a half, Charlie.
Yeah, but we thought he was going to get another job. I didn't know how much it was going to be. We thought he was going to get another job.
We didn't know it was going to be. I mean,
he could have also sat out of here if he'd wanted to.
It seems to be a natural landing spot for both because of he has recruited the area.
Yeah.
You know, the whole bit. I mean, a mid-level ACC job. That's what it is right now. That's a mid-level ACC job.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that it's just fits. But, I mean, they could have gone and gotten somebody else.
They could have. I thought James Franklin was employable, okay, because he wanted to coach again. The offset was a problem for me. $50 million.
That's all we heard.
Yeah.
$50 million. Nobody said 9.
Nobody said 9 because nobody counted the offset. If we thought he was going to get another
we knew
job.
The offset was there. We knew the offset. We could have said, when it's all said and done, Penn State's going to be on the hook for just 9. Nobody said that.
No,
including
nobody
us.
said. Nobody
including
said that.
us.
Nobody said that. But we did think he was going to.
But
get
all we heard
job.
about was $50 million, and then it was, it's not that. It's not close to that much.
Not because he's getting another job, and we don't think Kelly's going to get another job.
We all knew who he was.
Yes,
everybody had the opportunity. We all knew who he was. We all knew he went on game day 5 days later. We all knew that. Nobody said, man, I bet you what. Let me blue book it right now. He's going to pay now, including me, including you.
We didn't run through that.
That's
those
a
numbers.
big deal. So Kelly, they have no shot at getting Kelly to work down. Initially, he was going to take half.
I never thought he was going to take half.
Well,
I really
my
didn't.
information, there was some willingness by him initially.
And I thought that was a lie. I really did. I thought that was a lie out of his camp. I did. I thought they put that story out there to say, well, look, he's trying to get a job so that they didn't have to worry about contesting it. Now it's gotten a little bit uglier. But I didn't think Kelly, if the day Kelly takes a job, I'll buy you a very nice bottle of wine and say, Jimmy, you were right. I don't think he's coaching again.
I don't think he's coaching either.
Okay. Well, you don't have to give me the wine.
I mean, I don't think – I think initially – You got your information, whatever, but you don't have a secondary list after Kiffin?
Yeah, I've got the same list that everybody else has got. It's Eli Drinkwitz, it's Kenny Dillingham.
Well, you didn't mention. You say you didn't know earlier.
Well, okay. I don't have a strong feeling that one of those guys is number 2.
Eli Drinkwitz is the number 2 guy.
I could give you 4 or 5 names, but I can't tell you that one of them for sure is number 2 and then number 3 and number 4. It gets a little murkier after number 1. I don't think there's a. You know me. I love a good second choice. I don't have a good second choice right here. I've got a lot of third, fourth, fifth choices in this deal. We'll take a break. Come back here. Greg Bowser will join us. We're at Mike Anderson's. Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. It's brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. This is Live at Lunch, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierreport Store, now in Lockport and La Rose. Black Friday deals are on the website right now. Tools for the season, huge selection of power tools that are available right now. Also, indoor and outdoor security cameras and security locks are available on the website right now. If you go to thethibodeaustore.com, you can get to all 4 of the locations to do your shopping. Delivery available on some items. Same-day pickup available on most items from the Thibodeau Store. You're visiting in person, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau and Highway 70 in Pierreport. The Thibodeau Store open daily until 5:30 p.m. Greg Bowser is with us now. You've been watching this coaching search. You've seen a few of these, Greg. So where do you land on Lane Kiffin? And everybody's trying to figure out what he's going to do. We're doing percentages today. You got a Lane Kiffin percentage that you like?
I don't. The question I'd ask is why Lane Kiffin?
Well,
I think you have to look at
the number of games. The easy answer is he has won more games in the SEC since he's been in the league as a head coach than anybody but Alabama or Georgia. And since you can't hire Georgia's coach and the guy that did most of the stuff at Alabama is no longer coaching, he's next.
Yeah, I just think that, one of the things that we learned from the Brian Kelly experience is you want to get somebody who kind of fits.
Okay.
And so, and I don't know if Lane fits or not, but that's got to be in it. You got to get a guy that kind of fits. You can't get a guy that's kind of a renegade or a guy that's kind of at that top end where he just doesn't want to be here, but the money's so good he's got to come anyway.
Well, Lane Kiffin doesn't fit any one. What do you call it? One size fit. He is one of one as far as personality goes.
Yeah.
There's nobody quite like him. He doesn't fit any template.
He strikes me as kind of being a California kind of surfer kind of guy or a Florida kind of guy.
You tried that. That didn't work. He got fired from that job.
That's what to me, that's what he looks like. He's that kind of carefree kind of guy, Because you watch his games when he plays. Every game that he's played in, and sometimes he gets lucky on this, but he will do something to try to give it to you. He could be winning the game. He'll do something to try. If it's 4th and 1 on his own 30 or 4th and 1 on his own, and sometimes it'll cost him.
He's been over aggressive a lot of times.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when he was at Ole Miss at the beginning, most of his rosters, when he did that in those games, he had the inferior roster. Now not necessarily last year and this year, but a lot of those other years, he had to take some chances. He didn't have enough roster to play Alabama straight up in 2021 or 22.
I think to Greg's points, he's getting more attention than maybe we can ever remember. Is he the best coach ever? No. But he is probably the highest, the safest play to win football games in this league, whether it's at Florida or LSU. Yeah. And with Florida and LSU, would he have more resources? Would he have more of a budget? We all think so, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but is he the greatest coach ever? No. But he's also probably one of the few from a power conference, well, let's say Big Ten or SEC. Is he probably the only one that's going to jump?
Right now, that
he's the most jumpable, huh?
Yes.
Right. Cincinnati, Indiana's way less history than Ole Miss. Way tougher job. And he shut it down. So,
right.
To Greg's point, he is getting a lot more attention, and he's egging it on.
And that's the other thing. If he comes here, everybody's got
better win with that shenanigans.
Strong opinions about that. It doesn't seem to bother him. Okay, no. The outside stuff. That's why we thought when Saban left Alabama, if they had hired him, he's the one guy that could shut out that fan base and actually mean it. Everybody said, we're going to block out the noise. Now, he would have been out there trolling him. That's just how he is.
Yeah.
And he's going to do that. If he comes here, he's going to do that. Okay, he'll say, well, you didn't like the Omar the Tiger. We'll have an entire pack of tigers come in here next week. You don't like that. He's not going to worry about that. But Virg Osbury a long time. Okay, how he's going about this search.
Yeah, I think Verge is going to do I think he's going to do it systematically. I think he's going to first of all look at the top coaches in the country. And who are the best coaches? Who kind of fits? And, okay, now who can we get? Kirby's off the list. Sarkisian's probably off the list.
And we think Marcus Freeman's off the list, too.
Marcus Freeman, I think, is off the list. And then you
because
just start
Verge knows him well. His
yeah.
son played up there.
So
okay?
I think, and then you kind of go down the line. And who can you get? Who can you reasonably get? I mean, who you got a shot at?
Let me give you a name. I was shocked to see this name come up in multiple coaching searches yesterday. And Jimmy's probably right. This is probably an agent just rattling sabers to get something. I was shocked to see Josh Heupel's name on any list because they made the playoffs last year. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, but they're not having a bad year. I looked up Heupel's record. At Tennessee, they have won 11, 9, 10, and now he's 7-3 this year. He's 8 games over 500 in the conference. They've made the playoffs. But I think if I brought the name up Josh Heupel, I would get a kind of a reaction here. I don't know how you feel about it. Guy's a pretty good coach, but he's no guarantee.
Well, he hadn't won anything really big.
They went to the playoffs last year.
In the playoff, Kelly was 0 for 4 here.
Yeah.
Right.
So he just didn't.
That's what I'm saying is if you were looking for a rock solid resume that includes all of these championships, man, it just ain't there. In the last 15 years, Urban Meyer won 5, Harbaugh won 3, Tressel won 6. You got to go back 20 years for him. Saban won 9, Fisher won 2, Beamer won 4, and Stoops won 10. Okay, that's the list of guys that won multiple titles that are retired now or out of coaching. That soaks up in the last 25 years about 75% of the conference titles. So go find me the guy that's got all these rings, because he's not available.
Yeah, it may not be. It just has to be, I think, somebody who's a really solid coach and has proven it over time. May not have won all the conference championships. But
well, that's Kiffin,
coach.
isn't it? I mean, he won at Florida Atlantic. He won here. Hell, he won at Tennessee the one year he was there. He had a winning record at USC.
And it's got to be a fit, Charlie.
Do you know
was
that
Saban a fit?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was not necessarily a fit, Jimmy, compared to what he was coming into, who he was following. Probably not. But then Nick Saban wasn't Lane Kiffin.
How do you know if he's a fit?
Nobody's Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Kiffin's he's different. His shenanigans are different.
I don't know that Les was a fit here. He's lasted longer than any coach since McClendon. Was he a fit, or did he just he put together rosters? You got to give him that.
Put together rosters.
He
won.
Won a bunch of games here. He lasted 11 seasons. That's more than twice what the average coaches since McClendon has been here. And I don't know that he was a fit.
Look, I think if you get Lane Kiffin, I think the fan base is going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be able to take a lot of stuff. And
they're not going to be patient.
If he wins, that goes away.
They're not going to be patient.
We'll go
the first year, the transition year, if you're late into the portal or you lose something out of the recruiting class, they'll give you a little bit of grace there. But in year 2, you better win.
Yeah.
That patience, that's gone. I mean, it just is. Ed was a fit. Ed was probably the best fit culturally, and for a few years, it was really good. And then it fell apart. I push back on the. You and I known each other a long time, but I push back on the fit thing.
Okay.
I don't. I don't see where. I can't get the good football coach and the good recruiter and the good fundraiser and all that stuff, and then make sure he can cook gumbo too.
I'm not saying you have to do that, Charlie, but I think you've got to be, a people. You can't have the Brian Kelly kind of attitude.
Right. No, I get that. You got to try harder than that.
Yeah.
You have to try harder than that. And he was actually very cordial with the media. He was
more cordial than anybody,
and more accessible than now with the fans.
And to a fault, transparent. Yeah. Well, no, you don't have to tell us your running back's out. I mean, you don't have to do that.
No.
It was because he gets checked out.
Right.
His guard and his the typical, we criticize it all the time, but is the typical coach, high-pressure coach, paranoia didn't exist.
No,
because he had no fear of job security.
That's right.
He had a 10-year deal.
It was more with the fans. He doesn't take pictures. He doesn't sign as many autographs. He doesn't. They don't do the Tiger tour anymore like that. No, he's not going to go glad hand like that.
Right.
All right. So anyway, you get yes or no on Kiffin. By the time we see you next week, this might all be done.
I doubt it.
You'd say you doubt it. Okay.
I doubt it.
Hey, look,
where's he going?
I doubt it. Who, Kiffin? Mm-hmm. If I had to bet, I'd say he's going to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a joke. I think.
Yeah.
We've gotten a little bit of everything today.
Bowser's on Calci.
Couchy's on Florida. Brian's on Florida. Greg's on Florida. We're on LSU. Northworthy's on Ole Miss.
It has nothing. The only thing it has to do with it is just my perception of him. I mean, he's one of the beautiful people. He's not going to go fishing. He's not going to go hunting. He's not going to do anything. Now, he'll hang out at the beach all day.
Oh, he likes to fish.
Yeah, you can't do that here.
He likes fresh water, though.
I see what you did there. Greg, good to see you. We'll take our final time out here at Mike Anderson's, where the early bird special on gift cards. Buy 100 in gift cards, get $20 in gift certificates free, 200 or more in gift cards, $20 gift certificate, plus free appetizer cards with your purchase. Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy, any chance this takes a day or two off? Kiffin's going to disappear for a couple of days.
Well, how long is LSU going to give him for an answer?
That's a great question. I mean,
end of the week?
Have to be the end of next week, I would think.
You going to give him that long?
I would think they would wait into next week if they think they still got a shot. They don't have to make a move between now and the end of next week. I mean, they've got a little bit of time.
What more does he need to decide?
Well, that's a great question. I asked that an hour ago. Is there something out there that they're not giving him that he wants, or is he's got everybody's best offer and now he's trying to decide?
He needs to go on to the Fox pregame show Sunday too.
Well, that's just
a couple of night shows on the networks. His family's tour. Sleep on it. I'll give him one more night to sleep on it. Give me a damn answer. Boy.
I think he has made up his mind unless his family told him something drastically different. Like he's like, this is where I want to go, and I don't know where it is. Unless they go there and say, no, we hate it there. We don't want to go there.
That's fine. But if you're LSU, is there a chance he could tell you Florida at the end of next week?
He could.
And then where's that put you?
In a bind. I mean, that's why you got to have number 2 ready to go. And I'm again, that number 2 is on.
Why can't he tell you at the end of this
because
week?
He's Lane Kiffin and he doesn't want to do that.
Well, then maybe you don't want to fool with him.
That's why. How long? If you're Verge, how long do you give him? Friday?
End of this week.
Okay.
What more does he need?
Unless
he's well familiar with all these jobs.
I think unless his family told him something drastically different, he'll do what Nick Saban said. Go to LSU. Tomorrow we're at Roca Pizzeria. Thanks to the folks here at Mike Anderson. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.